we're back. Like and subscribe, or else you're gonna get stage 4 cancer. All right. I don't talk this episode. It's besties.
I swear these intros are just to
take,
throw me off my game.
take it away.
Okay. The show opens with its intro and camera, and the cameras pan around the crowd as the announcers open the show. Once the announcers are done, Sami Zayn's music plays, and Bronson and him make their way down to the ring. Once they get to the ring, Sami hypes up the crowd before the pair both grab microphones. Sami says, "Boy, is it good to be back. Look, that attack the Bloodline gave me was not one I would recommend for anyone. But enough about the past, let's look to the future. More importantly, let's look forward to SummerSlam. You see, I've been cleared by the doctors, and at SummerSlam I want some damn revenge. So Solo, bring you and your family out here and let's make something official." Solo and the Bloodline Wolfpack come out, and Solo says, "Sami, are you sure you're 100%? Because only a damn fool would come out here and challenge me and my family." Sami says, "Look, Solo, I know you act tough behind the Tongans and Jacob, but deep down we all know you're weak." Solo chuckles and says, "Sami, I think you're confusing intelligence with weakness. You see, I choose to let my family deal out the beatings because I want them all to shine. I've taken it upon myself to make sure the whole world puts some respect on these men's names. So if you want some revenge, if you want to fight, Sami, fine, make it official. But it's not going to be me and you this time around, no. I have bigger plans. Instead of me and you going one-on-one one more time, because, well, let's be honest, we know who's winning that fight. Let's make it interesting. How about you and your muscle over there, Bronson Reed, take on one of the best tag teams to ever grace the wrestling ring in Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, the Gorillas of Destiny." Sami says, "Solo, it doesn't surprise me you're once again hiding behind your family. But if this gets me one step closer to you, then you got yourself a match." Solo just laughs, and Bloodline Wolfpack walk backstage, and the show cuts to commercial. When we come back, we are starting the match between Sol Ruka and Ember Moon. This is a match in the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament. Sol Ruka picks up the win via pinfall, earning herself 3 points. After the match, AJ Styles is seen speaking with Ethan Page about SummerSlam. AJ says, "I can't believe that we have to defend our titles against not one, but two teams at SummerSlam, which is just completely unfair." Ethan says, "I know. Then forcing us into triple threats is also completely unfair. Like, does he not want his champions to be 100% going into their match?" AJ says, "That's exactly what I was thinking." Ricochet then comes into the locker room with the Authors of Pain and says, well, look, even if you guys can't get to a SummerSlam at 100%, you won't have to worry about holding on to those tag titles because my men here are taking those titles for themselves." The New Day then enters the locker room and Kofi says, "Everybody slow your horses. You see, last week Woods picked up the victory over one half of the tag champions, and later tonight your boy here is going to pick up another win. Then at SummerSlam, it's not going to be the Authors of Pain as your new tag team champions. As sure as hell isn't going to be the phenomenal Jackasses retaining. It's going to be your boys, the New Day, as a new tag team champions." Ethan says, "How about instead of everybody invading our locker room, you guys just leave and let AJ get ready for this triple threat. And then at SummerSlam, we'll show all of you who's the best tag team on SmackDown." Cameras then cut back to the ring as Becky Lynch comes down to the ring and calls out Charlotte. Charlotte comes down and they meet face to face. Becky says, "Look, Charlotte, I know we were both suspended together for the past few weeks, but I was hoping that upon my return I wouldn't have to see your stupid face anymore." Charlotte says, "Well, sweetheart, I don't just leave problems unsolved. When somebody crosses my path, I make sure to put them in their place." Becky then seems shocked and says, "What are you trying to say? That you're going to put me in my place? Because if so, I would love to see you try." Charlotte walks around the ring for a moment and says, "Becky, look, we both know that despite how good you think you are, I'm just simply better. I'm the better face of the women's division. I'm the better wrestler. I look better. I talk better. Simply put, Becky, I am better than you in every single way." Becky chuckles and says, "Charlotte, if there's anything you're better at than I am, that is taking the easy way to the top. You see, unlike you, I didn't have a legendary wrestling father opening doors for me when times got rough. I wasn't treated like a goddess when I walked through that door. No, I earned everybody's respect. And when the man comes around, people tend to pay attention. So if you think you're better than me, fine. Let's put it to the test. SummerSlam, you and me in this very ring. Before you answer that, though, I want to add a caveat to it. You see, I don't think there's enough room on SmackDown for the both of us. So how about we add some meat to the bone here? Let alone will it be Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, but it'll also be a loser leaves match. Charlotte rolls her eyes and says, "What is up with everybody in these stupid loser leaves matches? It happened to me last year against Roxanne, and I had to come here to SmackDown. But you know what? Fine. Match accepted. I just hope you have your bags packed, because at SummerSlam I will win, and I'm going to enjoy each and every second that I don't have to see you walking through my halls anymore." Becky smiles and goes to walk away. As she takes a step away, Charlotte attacks her from behind. Charlotte beats on her back for a bit before stepping back to big boot Becky over the ropes. As she goes for the big boot, Becky manages to sidestep it and manhandle slams Charlotte and stands over her as the cameras cut to commercial.
If I had a nickel for every time Charlotte was in a loser leaves match, I have two nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. I swear to God, if she comes back to Raw,
Just gets traded back and forth on loser leaves matches.
every year.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Anyways, cameras come back from commercial to Trick Williams making to Chad Gable making the or Chad Gable finishing up his entrance, and then Trick Williams makes his way down to the ring. Whole crowd's excited. This is the debut of Trick Williams on SmackDown. And Trick Williams goes out there and picks up the win over Chad Gable. After the match, Kevin Owens awaits backstage for Trick Williams and is just slowly clapping his hands. Owens tells Trick, "Good job out there. I just want to formally introduce myself before we meet at SummerSlam. My name is..." Trick cuts him off and says to Kevin, "I know who you are, and I know what you're about. I'm not looking to make friends here. At SummerSlam, I'm coming for that belt, and I plan on walking away with it, with all due respect." Trick then walks away, and Kevin just scowls at him. Damage Control are then seen in their locker room speaking about the match between Asuka and Io last week. Dakota says, "You guys tore the house down last week, and congrats to Io on picking up the win." Io says, "Asuka, you are one of the best women in WWE today, and you gave me a tough battle, and I hope that there is no bad blood between us." Asuka says, "Io, last week you were ready for Asuka, and maybe one day we can run it back. But for now, congratulations." And then Asuka puts her hand out. Instead of shaking Asuka's hand, Io just hugs Asuka instead. Dakota and Kairi then join in as well as one big group hug. We cut back to the ring as Karrion Kross comes down to the ring and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, in a few nights I'm going to be defending my World Heavyweight Championship against a couple of men that on their own would be taken as threats, but in the same match, I can't lie, I like my chances." Drew McIntyre then immediately comes down to the ring and says, "You like your chances, huh? Well, at SummerSlam, we're going to see how much you like your chances when I claymore your head clear off your body and take home that title that should have never left my waist." Seth Rollins then comes out and says, "Drew, I'm going to reiterate what Cross told you last week. That title isn't yours. It hasn't been for a while now, so stop acting like it. You see, it was me who got screwed over at Clash, not you. You were promised a rematch against me, but due to how things turned out, the belt is no longer in my possession. So somehow, upon your return, you convinced Big E that the promise simply gave you a title match. Well, listen up, pal, because I got one thing I need to make very clear. Under absolutely no circumstance am I going to see you walk out of SummerSlam with that title around your waist. It's coming home with me, and that's final." Cross says, "Gentlemen, let's keep things civil here. I don't want any excuses from either of you at SummerSlam for why I retained my title. You see, I think in the midst of your own personal grudge, you have forgotten the third man in this mix. Unfortunately for you two, that third man is me. I am the walking embodiment of danger. Look at my path of destruction and see where each man ended up. So at SummerSlam, you two do have to worry about one another, but it's not the devil you know you should be focusing on. It's the devil you don't that will really make you suffer. Cross then leaves, and Seth and Drew look at one another, then back at Cross before cameras fade back to commercial. When they come back, we are seeing the entrances for Lyra Valkyria versus Zarya, another match in the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament. Zarya wins this match via pinfall, earning herself 3 points. After the match, we see Sammy speaking with Bronson Reed about the tag match set for SummerSlam. Sammy says to Bronson, I am happy to be back and have you by my side at SummerSlam. To have you by my side at SummerSlam. Bronson says, yeah, it's going to be awesome to get some revenge on at least some of the men who put you out of action for the past few weeks. Sammy says he is just happy to have someone like Bronson in his corner. Bronson says he will always have Sammy's back. We then cut over and we see Mercedes is walking around the hallways backstage with Naomi and Tamina when Cora Jade crosses their path. Mercedes says, Cora, get out of our way. Cora says, look, last week, me and Becky had you guys beat if it wasn't for Charlotte. Mercedes says, Cora, stop worrying about the past. It happened. You lost. Trust me, even if Charlotte didn't get involved, there is no way you two are walking out with the win. But let me give you some veteran advice. Focus on SummerSlam, because I'm not going to be taking it lightly on you. I have no affection for you. I don't care where your career goes after our match, and simply put, all I am focused on is beating you and taking that title with me. So either you get on the same page as me and try to put up a fight, or I can simply run through you like I run through everybody else. Cora says, Mercedes, I still think you don't fully know who you're getting into the ring with. You see, Mercedes cuts her off and says, Cora, let me tell you who you are, not who you think you are. You're the girl that escaped you are the girl that escaped Becky Lynch and stole a victory over her. You're the girl that stole a victory over Charlotte. In both matches, you came out worse for wear. So what does that leave me? It leaves me a brat who thinks cheap wins equals greatness. Well, newsflash, honey, it doesn't. At SummerSlam, I am going to humble you. I'm going to take your title, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Now move out of my way, or Naomi and Tamina can move you for me. Cora moves out the way. They head down to the ring for the tag match. Naomi and Tamina versus Paige and Ruby Soho. Naomi and Tamina pick up the win. After the match, we go backstage. Swerve Strickland is interviewed about Cody Rhodes and says, "Look, I can see that Cody is upset with his current position in the company and is trying anything in his power to get back to where he belongs. But he made a mistake in choosing who he would use as a catalyst. You see, I came back to WWE not to just to be a member of this roster. No, I came back to show the whole world that the Swerve that left them became a man, and that man is back to win gold." But not just any gold, Kathy. I want that world title around my shoulder. So if Cody's plan is to use me like a stepping stone, then I have no problem returning the sentiment. At SummerSlam, Cody, I need you to understand that this isn't your home anymore. This is my house, and everybody is about to watch a massacre unfold. We then cut back to the ring for the entrances for the triple threat between AJ, Kofi, and Akam. Towards the end of the match, we see AJ Styles on the apron and connects with a phenomenal forearm to Akam. This drops the big man and AJ goes for the cover. As the referee begins to count, Kofi goes to slide in to break up the pin, but Ethan Page appears from under the ring and grabs a hold of Kofi's foot, preventing him from breaking up the pin. AJ gets the 3 count as Kofi scrambles to get Ethan Page off of him. Ethan Page and AJ then or Ethan quickly gathers AJ and scrambles up the ramp as Kofi just stares on in disbelief from the apron of the ring. But AJ Styles picks up the win.
And that is SmackDown.
And that is SmackDown.
Oh, it was about the same amount of time as the Raw was. Both had like 14-minute shows. I think mine was like 20 seconds longer.
Mine also had the moment where me and you were just laughing about Charlotte fucking loser leave matches.
Your stove is good.